All right. We are live with the Two Southern Sports Podcast. And we're doing a live reaction. This is going to be a two-part stream because we're doing a live reaction to College Football 27, kind of what we saw in the video. And then we're going to go back and do College Football 26 and do our Clark Kent stream over there. So I'm going to play the opening drive official kind of reveal over here on my phone so we don't have it up on the screen because we don't want to get copyrighted or anything like that. And we'll kind of react as we go along here. So here we go. So they kind of brought in, looks like in the opening part, they kind of brought in, I got to watch part of this. I got to watch this part whenever whenever I was at karaoke. I got to watch the opening part of everything and kind of see how things kind of went. In the opening part, and they had a lot of the the mascots and some of the college players, and they had Caleb Williams, the Madden 27 cover athlete, over there as well on there.
Good evening and welcome to EA Sports Opening Drive, live from the Aon Grand Ballroom at Navy Pier in Chicago. I'm Nick Pisesco, and tonight isn't just about two days.
So I actually went ahead and pre-ordered College Football 27 at GameStop as soon as this dropped. As soon as they started this thing, this video, and needless to say, because I looked on the game, I'd been kind of looking on the GameStop app throughout the day, and it hadn't showed up until right as this was dropping. So pre-order is officially live now. If you're a physical media guy like I am, I'm an old school physical media guy. I love, the old school media. I have to have the physical thing in my hand. I don't know. It's just how I am. And so, if you're like me and you like physical media, go ahead and pre-order the physical copy at GameStop. It is available now to pre-order. I'm sure it probably is on Amazon as well, but I'm not sure. So, and yes, I did go by Buc-ee's. I will explain this more on the Clark Kent stream. I actually got a few things for whenever really right now for the wheel spin. If you know, you know. So we'll kind of talk about that a little more. Um, This is a 1 hour and 55-minute video. We're not going to go through every single thing that they're talking about with Madden. Now that college football is back out, I'm more of a college football guy. I watch the NFL. Don't really play Madden as much as I used to, but Of course, the covers had already leaked on Monday for College Football 27 and Madden 27. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, the deluxe edition has kind of grown on me a little bit. But Keywan Lacey, Malachi Tony, and the Oregon quarterback. Let me go back to that. Dante Moore. Had to go back to that for a second. But those are the main cover athletes for the standard edition, which is what I got, which is what I pre-ordered. Those are the cover athletes for College Football 27. Now the deluxe edition has a bunch of other players and Kirk Cignetti. I said Kirk to begin with, but Kirk Cignetti. And I think it's fitting to have, the national championship winning coach on there. Very interesting choice for them to have that. It's very cool. I think that, it's something that should be done every single year. At least on the, if not on the deluxe edition, on the standard edition. So, Kurt Cignetti on the deluxe edition, and then the three main athletes on the. I think it's interesting they're doing three cover athletes on the college football game compared to just the one, because I mean it's very. Back in the day, they did do that one year back in 2013, back for NCAA 13 with RG3 and Barry Sanders with the introduction of, the Heisman Challenge thing with the players that you unlocked with in the Heisman mode, and then you could use them in Road to Glory. But that's just me. And so they're saying that, in College Football 27, Saturday is going to feel more like Saturday. Unfortunately, we did see, there were some leaks Monday, Tuesday, somewhere in there, that Kirk Herbstreit is not going to be paired with Chris Fowler in College Football 27. And I'm kind of sad about that because, they are the big game crew. They are the big SEC Saturday night crew and the main, ESPN crew. But my understanding, there's no real reason why Kirk Herbstreit is not going to be in College Football 27. It's possibly because of, his schedule. I mean, he's as busy of a man as, if not a little more so, as James Spann. I don't even think Kirk Herbstreit sleeps. I mean, that man hasn't slept since 1996. Let's be real. Since he started doing College Game Day. And so, I mean, I can't fault the man. It would be like, having a weather game with James Spann doing commentary every year. And it would just get, a bit much for him. But at the same time, Kirk Herbstreit has been involved with the NCAA games since, I want to say, 02 or 03. So he's been involved with these for several years, and it's kind of sad he's not going to be on there this year. College Football 27 is also going to be on PC, and they also are going to have a mobile app, and I think it's going to be more of like an Ultimate Team kind of thing. That was already confirmed. PC was rumored. So they are saying that there could be a dynasty experience on College Football 27 mobile, which would be very interesting. I know they had NCAA 11 on, at least on the Apple Store back in the day, from what I saw. But yeah, that's just something that is very interesting to me. And personally, I'm not really much of an Ultimate Team guy. I'm strictly mostly Dynasty. I don't really play much Road to Glory. But for you Road to Glory guys, there is some good things that are coming into College Football 27 that we're going to look at here in just a little bit. I like that. College Football 27, it says it's built around one question. Are you doing it for the U, for the university, or are you doing it for yourself? And that's the biggest thing that's kind of, going around college football right now with the whole NIL thing is they're playing for the name on the back of the jersey and not the name on the front of the jersey. Their players are there 1 year and then they're out. And they're not playing for the university anymore. I think they should get paid. I think they should get compensated for their name, image, and likeness. But at the same time, the way it is, the way the structure is right now, it's too much, man. They're getting paid more than NFL players. Bro, we're paying $40 million for a roster to win a national championship. It's pay to play. We gotta get something done about it. And, I don't think it should be a Congress thing. I think it should be, the NCAA opened Pandora's box when they did this. When they, full sent with NIL without any restrictions whatsoever. And, they just opened Pandora's box, and now we're seeing kind of the consequences of that, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And, if you disagree with me, hey, sound off on it, man. Sound off on your opinions about that. Or about the whole NIL thing. But at the end of the day, what NIL is going to eventually do, and I think this is some of the other coaches' kind of complaints, is that this is going to hurt the smaller schools, like the JSUs, like the Jacksonville States, like the UABs, like the Troys, teams like that. And it's really, really sad that they're doing it, that it is the way it is right now. And let's be real. I feel like if there's going to be a 24-team playoff, it has to be set up like the FCS playoff. All conference champions deserve to be in. All conference champions should be in. Whether you are... Because, there's 10 conferences. That's 10 of your spots. That's 10 of your spots. And then fill that up with the remaining, 14 teams. Whether it's... And, Notre Dame doesn't necessarily get a spot because they're not in a conference. It's not necessary. If Notre Dame's like 7-5 and they're number 24, hey, they don't get in. They don't deserve to be in. But conference championships should be rewarded. Say, for example, Kennesaw State. They beat JSU this past year, and I'm very sad about that. But I'm very proud of Kennesaw State because I do have some friends that, are a part of the Kennesaw State program. And I would say, hey, in a 2014 playoff, Kennesaw State gets a spot. Because conference championships should mean something. Conference championships should definitely mean something in a playoff system. You know, the March Madness tournament, every conference champion gets in. FCS, looking at the FCS level, every conference champion gets in. Now, do I want to see the conference championship games go away? Not necessarily, but at the same time, it could very well be possible in a 2014 playoff format. But that top team in the conference, if they won the championship, they deserve conference championship. That holds some weight. They shouldn't be playing in the Joe Blow or Jabroni Bowl. They shouldn't be playing in for, you know, just a bowl game to, you know, hey, here's a trophy for your, here's a bowl game for your accomplishments. I mean, you won a conference championship. And conference championships, they're great. They mean something. But in a 2014 playoff format, and you can disagree with me all day, but hear me out. In a 2014 playoff format, conference championships would have to mean something. It shouldn't just be, you know, all of the big conferences in. It shouldn't just be the ACC, the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, and one power and one group of 6 conference. It shouldn't be that way. It should be all 10 conference champions. And, you know, maybe it may be that the Conference USA champion, you know, maybe they do lose to the SEC champion 12 out of 10 times. But there will be that one time where, you know, the SEC champion is complacent and or the team that the higher ranked team is complacent because, you know, I'm sure the SEC champions are going to get a first round bye, you know, especially the Power 4. Give them a bye. Give the Power 4 champions a bye in the first round. I get it. Or the double bye, even. But in a 2014 playoff format, if they're playing the number 2 or the number 3 SEC team, the Conference USA champion is, they might beat that number 2 or that number 3 team. Because that number 2 or number 3 team will more than likely be complacent because they're like, oh, I'm just playing the Conference USA champion. I'm playing Jacksonville State. They're not going to beat us. And JSU comes in and they go in and beat them. I mean, we've seen it with Florida State a few years ago. We went in and walked off that game. We went in and in 2015 into Auburn, and we should have won that game in overtime. I will continue to hold that to this day. 2015 should have been the year that Gus Malzahn got fired from Auburn for going 5-7, because we should have beaten Auburn in Jordan-Hare Stadium in overtime. But, you know, that's a different story for a different day, and I will say that, and I will continue to say until they completely annihilate us in 2029, if they do that, that they're running scared from us. Because they know that we can beat them. Plain and simple. We don't want to hear about NFL or Madden.
So exciting. It's not just about more features. It's about giving players more ways to play.
But, yeah, that's just my rant about a 2014 playoff. If it's going to be 24 teams, you've got to have all 10 conference champions. FCS does it, and they do it just fine. They put on a great product. And it should be that way. Conference championships should hold some weight. That's my point. So let's take a look here at more of the College Football 27. They're talking about the dynasty kind of aspect of things. I fast forwarded the video to where they're talking about the dynasty aspect of things. This is something that I'm personally intrigued about, because this dynasty is pretty much what we've been doing in my streams here on college football on Twitch, on College Football 25 and College Football 26. So I'm very intrigued to hear what they're going to say. And the skill tree, I do like the skill trees. I like the skills tree setup. I'm just going to say. That was something that was kind of introduced in 14, and it was really expanded upon and when 25 came out in 26. I mean, it says they're giving us 138 ways to play.
We're introducing the single biggest change to Dynasty mode since we first introduced recruiting in Dynasty Blueprint. Dynasty Blueprint is a full program management.
So they're introducing a new thing called Blueprint. And it's basically kind of your program overview, talking about your budget for, your staff, your facilities, your NIL.
Before we dive too deep into Dynasty Blueprint, we need to talk about the ultimate wild card.
But before they're talking about that, they're going to talk about athletic director expectations. And this is something that was kind of in the PS2 versions of college of NCAA.
Passing or failing an expectation will be. There's hundreds of expectations ranging from winning on the field and the recruiting trail to developing and maintaining facilities and even some school-specific goals that are ingrained in the very identity of those.
So it talks about, there could be, facilities, maintaining your facilities and building those up, recruiting, on the field performance. All of that is going to play a role in your success, or the expectations of what your athletic director has for you in College Football 27. And I like that, because that's realistically how it is. It's a lot more realistic in that regard in College Football 27, and I like that.
So, you've selected your team, you manage your AD expectations, you're going to be asked to allocate some of your budget to your team support staff.
And it says that, you're going to be, asked to allocate some of that budget that you have of your your points to your support staff.
Accruing more dynasty points, helping with recruiting, increasing player progression, or potentially reducing NILS. Keep in mind, though, these skills all work as a multiplier or a potential counterbalance to your coaching archetype. So choosing the proper mix of staff based on your skill tree.
So it says that you have to, because these can help or hinder you, you have to choose your support staff based on your archetype, which, that's realistic, because your staff can make or break the success of your program in any college, really, in an FBS.
Next up, facilities.
Talking about facilities now.
Facilities control how much XP your players are going to accrue, with each level also.
Facilities talk about your XP, your players' XP, and how they
reduce wear and tear, increase season health,
increase your season health and things like that.
That's right. Facilities degrade over time. So not just important that you increase your facilities if you want to ensure your players are performing at the best, but you're also
So
want to make sure
facilities
that you're enough to maintain those facilities, or
can
risk potentially losing
help or hinder you,
or on the recruiting trail as your facility
and
grade
help
drops.
your and help you on the recruiting trail. So that's very, very important. So recruiting and NIL is in College Football 27, and that's the point system that they're kind of talking about.
Use NIL to help bring in high school recruits
So not all recruits are going to require NIL. And
the recruit and also the school grades.
I think this will be a big thing for some of the smaller schools in the game. You won't have to use as much NIL.
NIL is not an instant win mechanic on the recruiting.
And NIL is not an instant win recruiting mechanic on the recruiting trail because, think about this. You can offer them, say, 500 points, but Georgia comes in and they offer them, or Ohio State comes in and they offer them 1,000. And they're gonna go to the one that gives them the most. That's just like, how things are in the real world right now.
Even more important than ever is we have a brand new recruiting mechanic in college football 27. Verbal commits, big time.
Verbal commits is going to be new in college football 27.
Add a risk-reward mechanic to recruiting and also change how you allocate your NIL bonuses. Don't think that once you've got a verbal, you can reallocate NIL or stop recruiting.
And think about that. They're saying that you won't. Don't think you can stop recruiting. Don't get complacent when a player verbally recruits because someone can come in and take them. That's something that they had said was going to be in 25 and 26, but hasn't really been there. But now it is in there, and I'm excited about that.
Or potentially losing emerging stars based on their dynamic deal breakers. Building your program and budgeting your dynasty points wisely all culminates in the new coaching carousel for college football 27. We're very excited.
Coaching carousel is getting an overhaul a little bit. So you're going to be able to express interest in schools,
No more 6 schools only. You can throw
and
your
you
hat
don't have to, worry about just 6 schools.
Be careful. Expressing interest in too many schools is going to impact coach stability grade.
And
If you stay in your current school.
expressing interest in too many schools will impact your overall your coaching stability grade.
Make offers to coaches across the country at various different coach levels, not just a preset of interested coaches.
And expressing interest in coaching is in a coaching position is not necessarily going to guarantee you that coaching position. But if you were offered it, it's going to be automatically given to you, pretty
So
much.
we are excited and incredibly excited actually to see all of the battles.
That's
that go
very
down in online
intriguing.
Dynasties, who's going to be battling for those coordinators and
Coordinators are going to be the same way.
just super
If you're
fun
interested in a
fundamentals.
coordinator, you're going to be able to hire
But that
them,
is not all.
even if they're not
Inside
interested
the blueprint, we have
necessarily.
added much more to Dynasty. We've added wear and tear management. Super exciting here.
So they've added a wear and tear management system.
Back expanded league history. You can go back to the 1800s now.
And they have an expanded league history
Historical stats.
and historical stats.
Coach mode is now in Dynasty mode.
Coach mode has come back in 27. That was a big thing in 14. A lot of people use that. That's not something that I'm really going to use. But for some of those that are very interested in that, you get to
Stadium builder inside of team builder.
kind of pick that. And they're bringing Stadium Builder into Team Builder. I haven't really used Team Builder much in 25 and 26. But if that's something that you're interested in, you're going to be able to build your own stadium.
For Dynasty. And our team in Orlando could not be more excited to give you this program management sandbox to see all the different ways you're going to build your programs on the quest for a national championship.
Dynasty is one of those modes where everybody has a story. Maybe
So,
taking over
overall, I think Dynasty is going to be a lot more in-depth. I'm very intrigued by a lot of the new changes that they're bringing in. And it seems like they've really listened to a lot of us in the community. And that's a very good thing. Because, think about this. If they had just rolled out, the same old, didn't really update it much from 26, would there really be a point? And, I really like how it's going to be a lot more challenging to build up a smaller school like a JSU. Because I've since 25 since college football has returned to the video game platform. You know, college football 25, college football 26. I'm planning on doing it with 27. Every year I've started off the game doing a JSU Dynasty. And we're going to do that this year, of course. You can check that out over on Twitch when College Football 27 comes out. We're going to do, the yearly JSU Dynasty. Those of you who are intrigued, those of you who already had a player are going to have a player on JSU in the subsequent recruiting classes that we get in. And we'll probably have to stagger it a little bit based on the players, but you're going to be guaranteed a player if you've already had a player on this Clark Kent Dynasty. You're already going to have a player. So they're talking about Road to Glory now. They've added some positions. They've added tight end. They've added edge rusher, Mike linebacker as well. And so you've got more options if that's your mode. So you can either use a custom, you can create a custom player, or you can use a legend. So I'm hoping, I don't know who all of the legends are. I would like to see, what if a Tim Tebow stepped into college football today, or a Vince Young or a Joe Burrow? It came into a 12-team playoff era. That would be very, very cool. And let's just say Tim Tebow. Oh, Tim Tebow's on there. Let's look at this. Johnny Manziel, Steve Young, Cam Newton, Michael Vick. Imagine Virginia Tech, Michael Vick in College Football 26. That's going to be a cheat code in Road to Glory. Andrew Luck, Drew Bledsoe, Pat White, Tim Tebow. You're going to be able to use those players in the Legends mode in Road to Glory. That's pretty cool.
Talked about rooting the mode in meaningful decisions. So new this year, we're going to be tracking those decisions throughout your career through what we're calling Legacy Score.
So they're going to introduce Legacy Score this year.
With your star rating in high school. It's going to ladder all the way through another new addition, which is your NFL Draft Score.
Which is going to go all the way through your NFL Draft Score. So the higher the legacy score, the higher your
Players loved high school. They said it was fast fun. We heard the feedback, but we also heard the feedback that you did not feel you were being rewarded.
Your draft is
objectives. We've rooted those objectives in situations and teaching the mechanics of the positions, while also adding hundreds of new team impacts to make you feel way more rewarded on positive plays.
And so they're still doing. I heard a lot of complaints about the moments. So you can import your team builder teams for your high school teams. That's something they used to do on NCAA 14. A fitness meter's been added to Road to Glory as well.
Ratings increases and decreases. You're going to have to balance that fitness because off the field we have over 100 new scenarios. Audrey may be coming back. Spoiler alert. Many are going to throw curveballs.
I would like to see them bring back the old dorm room and the apartment and things like that from the when Campus Legend first debuted. And of course, you can't forget about the classroom.
Tests and quizzes, actual tests and quizzes. So depending on how prepared you are, your academic meter is going to impact how hard the test is going to be.
So they're going to give you practice exams and stuff. That's pretty cool. That's something that they did on the older NCAA games.
You may need to spend some time hitting the books to ensure you're academically eligible. These are actually very hard and very fun. The transfer portal also completely overhauled.
So they've overhauled the transfer portal.
We have deeper context around schools providing you offers, or your coach may potentially ask you to leave the school. It could happen as well. And if you manage your time and energy successfully on and off the field, you may just have the chance to be invited to New York for the penultimate award in college football, the Heisman Trophy celebration.
So they have brought the Heisman Trophy ceremony back, which was something that was very integral in the old PS2 days of NCAA. That's something that I really liked. You know, they had it up until, you know, the last one on PS2, which was 11. And I'm glad they brought it back. I think it came out on around NCAA 06. But I'm glad they brought it back. That's something that, you know, it makes the pageantry, it makes the presentation feel more real.
From who you are as a player to the position you play to the identity you create on and off the field. And we've got the perfect group here to talk about that because they're living the real version of this journey right now. Here now with college cover stars Dante Moore on 27. You were modeling your game. Carry on. Those big moments, or if you weren't a running back out there, are trade-offs. Playing. Look at what happens when that journey continues at the next level. This is Superstar.
We don't care about Madden.
Mike Vick in the building, the man who broke the
Same room with a player that
Miller. He
I'm not gonna let his finest kid from a quarterback's perspective.
not happy to be here. I think
You never know what's gonna happen.
more Miller there too. We're gonna done okay.
Man, from all
Where-
over this channel, man, there's
Ball's out. Let me ask. How exciting is it to get
on a detail, full of attention to he could go ahead, kids coming in, but we wanted his deep running their concepts against these specific defenses. That's where, ultimately we gotta go.
We got none other, by the way, than Ocho taking on Malachi Tony. I mean, that's a battle. I just want to hear them mic'd up. Or maybe we don't. I haven't been told from.
I got my money on Malachi. I've
Yeah.
seen Ocho play. He's all talk.
Dang. Well, Kurt, one thing that I have learned being a part of this community for so long is how much this game
So
can
they're
teach you.
showing some of the gameplay, which is very intriguing.
Because, when you have more flight time and more time to adjust, you can, bump.
So overall, I feel like, they really listened to the community this year, and I'm very excited to see what they do. And so, just kind of some reviews that I've seen, and this is on on one of the college football video game groups that I'm in. Some of them, if you got the MVP bundle or the high tier bundle, I think it's the MVP bundle. You're able to play the beta. And some people say, you can't put out screenshots. That's the key. You cannot if due to the non-capture agreement. But some of the things that I'm seeing are that Dynasty fans this year is going to feel like you are the man on campus. You're in control of everything. Facilities, NIL value, NIL management, your staff. There's coaches' abilities to increase your NIL points. And so, it says NIL is everything in recruiting. You can still hiss in the house, but if you're UAB, so, for example, if I'm JSU, Jacksonville State, like I'm going to be in the first dynasty, trying to get the number one quarterback in the country, if you don't have the money, might as well let that guy walk because you're not going to get him. So I'm very intrigued to see how this how this one really turns out. So it's going to be very, very intriguing. I'm very, especially intrigued by Dynasty mode. That's the mode we're going to be primarily utilizing. So, very excited about that. So we're going to go ahead and end this one. We're going to have more for the Two Southern Sports Podcast over time. Hopefully during football season we'll be able to do it a lot more. Hopefully I'll have my trusty sidekick with me some. We got the idea for this podcast New Year's Day, sitting in Jack's, eating breakfast, and we were talking about, the Rose Bowl that day, and he mentioned, hey, Alabama could really get spanked in the Rose Bowl. And we just had this, back and forth kind of like, College Game Day and things like that. And he made that prediction, which unfortunately came to pass for us Bama fans. But, after we kind of had that discussion, we're like, hey, we could really start a podcast about, sports. For me, it would be more, the football and the baseball side, now that I've been to a few baseball games, and the hockey side, because I do like a lot of hockey. With the FIFA Cup coming up here soon, could cover that as well. And so it's going to be a lot of different sports that we're going to bring in, and we're going to cover the local high school teams as well. Kind of mentioned it on the Clark Kent Dynasty stream that we've been doing. Southeastern High School, they're looking for a new coach. We wish Coach Bird all of the success in the world. He's been a great coach at Southeastern. But they're looking for a new coach. And, it's going to be very interesting to see how that coaching search goes. As we really don't have much time before the season to, find a new coach. But, interesting things happen. I mean, look at Coach Adams at Locust Fork. He'd been on the staff for a while. He's been on the staff for years. We're talking 20-some-odd years. And he finally gets the opportunity to become the head coach, and he leads Locust Fork to the semifinals in a couple years ago. Now, last year wasn't as great, but it was a rebuilding year. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how this coaching search goes. If they, hire from within, or do they go and get somebody? So we're going to be doing a lot of that. I've got some very big plans for the Two Southern Sports Podcast. It's just two Southern guys, chopping it up about college sports and about other, major sports. The NBA Finals coming up. Things like that. I'm just very excited to, do that for you guys and to bring you guys to really immerse you guys into a sports kind of podcast. And so we're going to be doing that more as time goes on, especially when high school football starts up. We may do one during SEC Media Days, kind of an SEC Media Days roundup at the end of SEC Media Days, kind of talk about what different coaches said, kind of where the programs are, what the predictions are based on what our predictions are based on what we heard, based on what we saw, and it's going to be a lot of really doing our homework over the next couple of months, but really excited about this, and it's something that I did radio at JSU for a little bit, and I did a Christian rock, hip hop, and alternative radio show at JSU, and this is something that I'm very interested in. And so, aside from the teaching that I do, and aside from everything else that I do, this is, sports is one of my big interests. And so, hopefully we can bring it to you in a way that really makes sense. And so, that's what we're going to try to do as we go along, and I'm very excited. So, share your thoughts about what you saw. If you watched the video, share kind of your review of it. If you've got the beta, obviously you can't you can't post any spoilers, you can't post any pictures or anything like that, but kind of share what you've observed, what you've seen in the comments, and we'll be very excited to, interact with you guys. And so we're going to end this stream, and we're going to go into Year 5 in the Clark Kent Dynasty here in just a few minutes. So stay tuned.